Oh, they had a baby, I think. It looks like it. The Secret Mission of Sam and Sol Sude. The Return of Superman. No, that's me. Who is this? Maria is real. Caesar gets destroyed.
So
this
it's
is
been a
basically
while
a
since I talked about our
spoiler.
boy Caesar from 90 Day Fiancé.
This is basically
just
a
to give you guys a
spoiler.
quick little rundown. This dude has been talking to a Ukrainian girl named Maria, who he met on the website Anastasia Date for the last 5 years. And he sent her over $40,000. That's right. 40000. So basically $8,000 a year, which is a whole lot for a guy who does nails for a living. He's honestly like a nice little side hustle for this blonde-haired Russian gold digger. Can you really imagine spending $8,000 a year on someone who you've never touched? Nope. Not a hug, not a handhold, absolutely nothing for this poor simp. The only thing he would really get from her is these very vague videos where she doesn't even call him by name, just pet names like my husband, baby, honey, etc. I actually speculated last video that she was sending these little video clips to multiple men. And when I made my last video, everyone in the comments was speculating that she was actually a catfish and this guy was basically just sending money down a bottomless pit or to some sort of robot. Even some random suburban family Caesar had just met at the hotel pool wasn't convinced that someone this sexy would want to be with the gay Michael Jordan.
You're not being catfished, man?
I think that they were just amazed at how beautiful Maria is.
So after being stood up in a Mexican hotel room, this guy actually still had faith that Maria was the one and that they would be married sometime soon. Even days before she stood him up, she didn't respond to any of his messages despite being on her messenger app every single day, multiple times a day, likely talking to other men. Honestly, I've never seen someone ignore so many red flags. This guy is a grown man with the street smarts of a 2-year-old, but the crazy thing is, she actually is a real-life, living, breathing woman. And she's beautiful just like in the pictures. She's like something out of one of Hitler's wet dreams, with those cold, dead eyes of hers. But that's about where it stops for the positives for Maria, as this broad is about as shallow as a kiddie pool on a hot day, and that water is evaporating by the second. It's pretty clear that the only thing she cares about is money.
I like what he does.
This guy needs to chill.
He sent me flowers. It catch my attention. And he's American, so it's pretty good.
So basically she's in this for the citizenship and the dinero, like most people on this 90 Day Fiancé. It's weird that these foreign people just automatically assume that every single American has money falling out of their ass in his $50 buy one get one free suits.
Why does it so mean to Caesar?
And fat. Like, come on.
What the fuck just happened?
Why don't you just date one of your cousins if that's what you're really into? I'm sure if he had money, she wouldn't be above it.
Were you physically attracted to him at the time?
Damn, she
and
just
to be
laughed.
honest, guys, I really don't feel bad for this man due to the fact that he's just a straight up clown for entertaining this woman at all. Actually, he's a clown for being on Anastasia Date in general. For $8,000 a year, he could have been hooking up and buying stuff for a real-life girlfriend, or even at this time, a wife. He's missing out on the chance to have an actual relationship based on something that's not, oh, I saw your profile picture and it made me want to bang you, so now I'm gonna send you 25% of my paycheck every month for 60 months straight.
That's my love of my life, and I know she's not a catfish at all.
And Maria also admits that she's been talking to other men this entire time. And when asked about if these other men give her money, she refuses to give the producers of the show any sort of straight answer. In fact, this b***'s eyes are dancing around like Forrest Whitaker as she dodges question after question. That's how you know she ain't no truther.
And how much money did Caesar send you over time?
I don't know. I'm not accounting.
I remember we saw that.
And so the lovely couple still hasn't met. Like, the producers of the show have spent far more time with her at this point than he ever will. And she's having a meetup with her little gold digger committee of friends to talk about a trip to America she's taking soon here on Caesar's dime. And she says she still doesn't know if she actually wants to meet up with this fool or if they're actually anything more than friends.
Oh, it's like for Caesar, if he wants to have a girl like me, go and make more money.
So overall, I think that this dude must just be in the closet and wants to cover it up or something. I just can't see a normal-minded person buying into this bull. And this guy is just the ultimate definition of being swindled and finessed. And like I said, I really can't feel bad for him. Let me know what you guys think about this update down in the comments below. Like the video today if you did enjoy. I got a lot more stuff coming after this little holiday season, guys. The stickers are coming in hot. Okay, So apparently out in the United Kingdom, they don't have a single thing to worry about. And the amount of clowns that show up to Good Morning Britain is enough to bring the circus to town. And listen, I never liked clowns or the circus.
You're gonna die, clown! You think that's funny? I don't hear you laughing now! Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Today, my people, we have what I would call one of the most extreme examples of a social justice warrior ever. Social justice warrior. Basically someone who's always fighting useless fights that often have nothing to do with them in an attempt to feel some type of vicarious victimhood. They really come in all forms. Men, women, Democrats, Republicans, babies.
Come on, does this kid do anything besides eat shit and cry? Socialist freeloader.
Meet Ellen Scott, the woman who's against people putting their hands together and making noise, aka clapping. And no, I'm not talking about giving your lady friend some late night back shots. I'm talking about the thing that occurs after someone gives an amazing speech, or after a 5-year-old scores a soccer goal. Let me tell you guys something.
And
throughout the history of this beautiful world, across all of the lands, we've always clapped. It's kind of like the universal way of saying, yes, I agree, and I'm happy with whatever's going on in front of my face. It's how actors and actresses know that they just killed a performance. It's what pumps athletes up. And in general, it lets people know that you support them. And this purple-haired demon wants to just take that all away, shielding herself behind the socially anxious and the autistic.
So it's actually not just for people with anxiety, it's also people who use hearing aids. Clapping can be disruptive to that. People who have sensory processing issues, it can be very distressing and overwhelming to have those loud, sudden noises. And
listen, I'm all for accommodating for our disabled brothers and sisters out here, but I'm also under the belief that this would only draw more attention to the people with these types of sensory problems, making them feel even more uncomfortable. These are just not the people who want any type of attention or a target being painted on their back for any reason. On top of that, an actual person with autism wrote in and talked about how she doesn't agree with the ban on clapping, and instead she would like to raise legitimate awareness for autism in general.
Because this could breed resentment if other students start to harbor bad feelings towards autistic people.
Exactly.
I'm telling you guys, to these people, it's more about being informed than being accommodated to. I would assume that when these types of people go to shows, sporting events, etc., they understand that things might get loud, and that's really just a risk that they're willing to take. I would think that most of them are adequately prepared for any sort of discomfort that this might cause them.
So if some theatres or some universities say, actually, we're going to be more inclusive and do jazz hands instead, that'd be lovely. More people could get involved.
Just stop for a second. Can you really imagine a room full of people doing jazz hands after some amazing performance? Just silently raising their arms in the air and shaking their hands around? I would think that jazz hands would actually cause more discomfort than just regular clapping. Chat. And jazz hands in general is just about the stupidest dance move ever.
Hands up,
also,
chat.
you're about to smell some nasty ass armpits. That would not hype up anyone at any sort of event. Does this girl just not realize how much that eruption of noise alters the vibe and experience of an event?
No one's even clapping right there. What a terrible example.
I mean, it's pretty obvious when a place erupts with applause, it's just a totally different thing. The atmosphere completely changes. And then they bring in this comedian to basically destroy her entire argument and tell her why she's being a complete snowflake on national TV.
But what we don't do is completely restructure society and completely change societal norms in order to accommodate the sensibilities of a few people.
Finally, someone talking on this show who has some sense in their brain. It's like, where does the accommodation really stop? I mean, how are blind people gonna know what's going on if everyone is just doing the jazz hands in silence? Jesus Christ, this concert sucks.
True.
I just really want to know, are you some type of anti-blind? I really hope you guys see how slippery of a slope this could all become if we just keep accommodating to every single person. When I go to a concert, half the time I can't see because I got Wilt Chamberlain standing in front of me. Does this mean I get to have a step stool at every single event? Of course not. That would be ridiculous. And the amount of times that Polly Pocket over here gets triggered by our comedian friend is simply hilarious. No one up on this panel is on her side, and she's just getting eaten alive like a cub who wandered into a pack of hyenas.
Students on the whole are just sick of this stuff, and they hate the fact that these minority represent them, misrepresent them, and people just end up writing off an entire generation.
It really is true that often the most privileged groups are the ones pushing to look like victims every waking second of their life. I mean, have you seen some of these popular opinions on Twitter? It's really some of the most hypocritical bullshit ever. They want everyone to be accommodated for and to be understood. Unless you happen to be one of the groups that they don't like or agree with, then you can go f yourself. That's really the mentality of these types of people. Like, even if you spit straight facts in their face all day, these idiots just don't care. Their agenda is purely driven by emotions and feelings of inadequacy. They always want someone else to blame for their downfalls. They're always focused on all the wrong stuff. And for that reason, a lot of people with this type of mentality will just never be shit in this world. It's hilarious too, because in real life, these types of people just get absolutely destroyed by rationally minded individuals. They just creep a little too far out of that safe space, and they get decimated. But overall, let me know what you guys think down below. Drop a like if you think that this whole banning clapping thing is as ridiculous as I do. As always, I want to thank you guys for subscribing today. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. Go follow your boy on Instagram. That's @JamariSpeaks for 100 cookies. They're in the mail, I promise. Either way, guys, I gotta go fly away now.
Imagine watching Fraternity Court without clapping.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy, the Tan Superman. It's your boy, Jamari Speaks, back here on the main channel today. And so it's no secret that people from a certain generation, the baby boomers, they absolutely hate to see young kids having fun and making money while doing it.
You stupid kids with your technology. You guys just have no social skills. I remember back in my day, we didn't have this Tinder. We didn't have Twitter and Facebook. You actually had to go talk to somebody face to face.
They scream while they have their face sucked down into Facebook at the dinner table, watching some classic 5-minute crafts. So a lot of you watching this video have probably actually already heard of this 16-year-old kid named Booga. Boobdiga? No, Booga, mother. If you don't know, this kid won the damn World Cup. The Fortnite World Cup, that is.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's no way anyone beats him. Your Fortnite World Champion, Booga!
And don't just write him off as some nerd. He also won $3 million in prize money for taking first in this competition, which I actually think might be the most one single person has won in a gaming contest at one time. Either way, this kid's life changed forever, and it definitely means a lot for the future of gaming and how it will continue to move closer and closer to the mainstream world. So good for Booga. You gotta understand that this was years of preparation in playing this game, making sure he set himself up in the right position by doing things like being homeschooled.
You're not allowed to Megalol the Fortnite World Cup with Kek W when you have Overwatch in your name.
And literally training for most of the day, I assume, training and streaming. But sadly, now the press for this kid has been exactly positive. First of all, when I'm watching these...
Where are all the tournaments that Overwatch has put on for us players that love the game, that would have invested time in the game? Thank God Booga didn't spend fucking time playing Overwatch and played Fortnite instead.
These post-World Cup interviews that he's been doing, he's been going on his little tour. My first observation is that these old people clearly don't understand the work this kid actually had to put in to be the greatest at this game. They honestly treat him like he's some sort of dumb little kid who stumbled his way into $3 million.
What time of day was this that you won?
When it happened?
Yeah.
Like midday yesterday, like maybe
like when you wake up? 12 noon?
Damn,
woke up,
Fred.
had a banana, won $3 million.
Why you gotta hit us with that, Fred?
But honestly, for the most part, he plays it cool and he's really respectful. This one CBSN news report about him though, yikes. This lady is literally saltier than some pretzels when he got a case of dry mouth, and it shows.
These pretzels are making me thirsty!
So they bring in the report talking about how Booga won the tournament, taking home the $3 million, the massive trophy. God damn, was that trophy huge. Quite frankly, I'm surprised his gamer arms could even lift that bad boy up. And just a heads up for this news segment, this guy right here, he knows what's up. He's one of those actually intelligent older people who understands that the world isn't like it was back in 1980. Video game nerds aren't at the arcade playing Pac-Man anymore, mom. They're making fat stacks, baby. The way this guy actually talks about video games, I wouldn't be surprised surprised if he was an investor in a gaming organization or something of the sort. The first life form from Area 51 has also landed in the good old news station, and he seems a little bit upset that he can't be the one playing games all day for a living. He's merely a weekend warrior when it comes to gaming, but at least he actually owns up to his saltiness and acknowledges that video games are awesome. This woman, on the other hand, is just an absolute hater of the idea of playing video games for a living.
Fortnite is one of the biggest esports games. The basic version of it is 100 people parachute onto an island and basically shoot at each other until there's only one left. They call that a battle royale.
So after this man explains Fortnite to all the old farts watching, explaining ping to them and such, they start really harping on the idea that most of the people who made it to the finals were actually teenagers. They think it's absolutely ridiculous that the oldest guy was 24. They're just absolutely mind blown by that fact alone. Even though it's common knowledge that your hand and eye coordination takes a nosedive after you age past around 27, and it actually peaks around the age of 17. Roger the Alien even admits
if he was about to say 25, oh boy, I was about to throw
it's that he plays Fortnite as well as some other video games. Then here comes the hating from the smoky eye senior over here in the corner. God, is she despicable.
There's also the thing of like you actually being an adult and having to go to work and pay bills and not spend all your time training.
And so basically this woman thinks that these kids don't actually have to practice, like if this is any different than
Couldn't I just say all she does is run her mouth on TV? Does she not have to train to run her mouth in the right way for television?
Playing a sport or instruments or really doing anything you want to get good at. Lady, I'm honestly sure you had to practice standing in front of a camera and talking like a fake douchebag for years before you finally made it here. Maybe even hit a couple of casting couches. Hey, listen, I'm not here to judge. Here you finally are, hitting your 50s, and you finally made your way up the ladder. Do you have to stand next to an extraterrestrial every single day? Yes. Yes, you do, but you chose this life. And also, lady, many of the prominent streamers are in their late 20s and 30s, so there is kind of still a career avenue for gaming if you're good or just entertaining enough. And I don't think she really understands how big this market is about to become with not only my generation of millennials, but definitely with this next generation coming up. It really is going to be like being a professional player where you get in, you maybe make your money for around 10 years, and then you get out and do something else, hopefully. I mean, I've played with younger viewers of mine who were just miles ahead of me in multiple different games. These kids are not here to play, man. They'll be dancing on you all day. This is fucking... And she even tries to comfort the alien about his video game playing habits on air, calling him trash and all this stuff like she didn't drop out the scene after Super Mario came out on the SNES.
Use the easy level and be like, oh, kill the game, killed it.
Come on. Not using the easy level. Was not using the easy level.
And then Adam knows everything over here, schools them on some gaming scholarships, the way this tournament actually came about, and he basically just explains that video games are just gonna keep growing from here. Still, this woman just remains very skeptical about the whole operation.
At some point, I'm presuming you have to like age out of it, not just because your reaction times go down.
100%, yeah, that's true.
You need to shut the up.
I just gotta say it, I think that the whole age out of it thing is really just an idea for women. Honestly, in my experience, I've noticed that most men hold on to something for their entire life, whether it be sports, cars, move, age out of it thing.
Action times go down.
100%, yeah, that's true.
You need to shut the up.
I just gotta say it, I think that the whole age out of it thing is really just an idea for women. Honestly, in my experience, I've noticed that most men hold on to something for their entire life, whether it be sports, cars, movies, making some horrible music with an instrument that their wife wants to destroy. Some men, they can just never give up the ladies. They're just
incel.
80 years old looking for poon. The point is that they're gonna love this special thing to them for their entire life. And video games are becoming one of those things for these newer generations. I mean, it already is a thing for this dude who says he remembers standing in line all night for the Atari. You know that man ran home hyped as f to play some Pong.
I love video games too, but I don't have the time. If I had the time, I would play it. Like,
we claim it's part of our job.
You know, that's funny, lady, because I'm sure you still find the time to shop. I'm sure you still find the time to be passive-aggressive against your husband for his video game habits. And he's gotta just be absolutely amazed with the capabilities of video games today. And also, if she's really talking about like how people will compete my age out of it, they still have this influencer model to build off of if they're good enough at marketing themselves. Because honestly, most of these high-level players are streaming on the daily to an ever-growing market of people. I think she, like most people, are just like throwing video games away as a very childish act. Maybe she's mad that the learning curve for games is so high and it's not just for casuals anymore. This lady could probably literally spend a year straight playing a popular multiplayer game online and still probably not be better than a 10-year-old on his first day. I'm just saying.
And that what button does what?
Nah, but for real, guys, what do you think about this topic? Do you think that this lady is just salty?
Yes.
Saltier than some popcorn on a hot day at the movie theater, baby. That's not a good look. But I just want to thank you guys for watching the video. Hey, man, do me a favor and go follow me on...
No, bitch, fuck you. Ain't no one following your fucking Insta, man. Squad W.